Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Cross Country Garage here with the 78 G10 van that we're calling Vandemic. Well, there was other updates and everything, and what we're doing today is draining the fluid out, and yeah, I still have some orange paint everywhere. I will clean that up for you guys. And we're going to be removing the cylinder heads, obviously the intake, ignition, all that. We are throwing a bigger camshaft in this, and the rocker stud actually broke again on the engine. I don't know why, but it did. And so I'm about had it. The heads on this are just kind of like smog heads anyway. So we're going to be putting a set of Corvette Pulley heads on it, which are 64cc. Give a little bit more compression, so we're gonna have a little bit more horsepower, some more torque and everything. And then with the bigger camshaft, it's gonna put a little more fire in its tummy, and should run real good. Pretty excited about this. And the Pulley heads, they're covered up and a little dirty, but they do not have the accessory holes, as some of you guys know. So what we're going to be doing, and I'll film it and everything, I'm going to be making a custom bracket assembly, because the stock alternator setup has a bolt that goes to the bottom here, and it goes into the cylinder head to hold it. So we're going to be making some custom brackets and everything else. They do make brackets out on the market and everything else, but if you know how to weld, cut steel, and do all that, and you got the facilities to do it, make your own. That's what we do. All right, well, just wanted to give you a little update on what started here, and we'll continue on. So easiest way here to access the front of your engine is obviously remove the radiator, the fan shroud, and the fan and all that. So what I do is, sometimes people fight the fan blade, you know, right around the shroud and everything. What I do is I take the mounts off and everything, get this fan shroud tipped forward, radiator all drained out and everything in a bucket, nice and safe, and then pull the radiator out, tip this forward, then I can access my fan bolts and everything else. Seems like a pretty obvious way to do it, but I have attempted to do it the other way a few times back in the day and everything. I figured I'd just make a little notation on this, and because what we're gonna do is we need to remove the intake, the valve covers, then, you know, all the front accessories and everything, and the balancer, the front cover, water pump, intake, carb, headers, and all that. And then I got to drop the front of the oil pan down so you can pull the timing cover off because of that lip that has. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but everything will be worth it in the end though. And we'll continue on. All right, well, we have the intake off, valve covers, water pump, carb, you name it, it's off. So what I'm working on right now is taking off the headers, pulling the spark plugs out and everything, and then we're going to take all the head bolts off. I'm going to loosen the rockers first and get them out of the way, because some of them you can't get a big socket on without loosening them up a little bit. And I like to pull the push rods out. I don't like to pull the head off and then have all the push rods all flying all over the place, because we are going to utilize the bottom of this motor as long as everything looks good in the piston area. This motor was pretty much a big mystery for me. I did, however, have the oil pan off at one point when I replaced it with a nice one, and everything looked excellent from down below, but we got to look at the cylinder and see how much of a ridge there is and everything. But most likely I'm going to try to use this motor regardless and see how it all goes. And we got to pull the pulley off, harmonic balancer, take the all the timing cover bolts off, pull that off. This way I could get to the timing chain, so I could disconnect that, and then we'll be pulling all the 16 lifters out, and then we could carefully slide the camshaft out, which I like to use two long bolts on it. This way when you pull it, you could have control over it, because there's a distributor gear on the back, and you have one, two, maybe 4 bearings that are inside the engine that you do not want the distributor or the gear on the camshaft to nick those cam bearings. So you want to be real careful with that. So you slide that out very slowly and methodically. That'll be it. We'll come back to you with another update. Sorry I'm not wrenching with the camera on. It's hard to do all this with it on. That's why I try to explain it as best I can. Just swinging the wrench to the left. Hopefully soon we'll start swinging to the right. Beautiful Lake Havasu City. Working on the van. Well, we got the heads pulled off. Well, you see a cylinder head on here. Actually, this is the replacement cylinder head. I wanted to actually put it on there and check the compression, because I wanted to make sure that that back cylinder didn't get hurt when there was you know, all the craziness happening. So good news is we have compression on that cylinder and everything. I put a rocker and push rods in it and then rolled the motor over and got good compression. So where this leads us now is I'm going to be, apparently the motor looks like it has been rebuilt not too long ago. It's got a 4 valve relief style flat top pistons and a nice double roller timing chain, which is in good shape, and everything else. What I want to do is actually I'm going to pull the timing chain off and then remove the camshaft, because I want to put a little bit of a hotter cam in it. I'm really not sure what cam is in this, but I want a little more thumpity thump out of it, so that's what we're going to give it. After I remove the cam, I will see if there's any numbers on it, and I will share that. So the girlfriend just called me in for breakfast. Gonna get some breakfast going and come back out, and then we will do another update. All right, we're back again. So this was the double roller timing chain that I took off that I showed in just a few seconds ago. I like when people use good hardware, locking tangs and all that type of stuff, but they did not lock it. This just came right off. These tabs supposed to bend to one of the sides of the nut here and lock it in. So if you're going to use that type of hardware, utilize it. Anyway, little tech tip. I still have to pull the lifters out, and I'm going to keep them where they came out. So if this camshaft is something of good use for future, at least we know where the lifters go. I will put them in the correct packing. But I wanted to take some time to go over something. Excuse all this thing got so greasy. You want to loosen the water, the fuel pump, because it has a rod that goes up to the camshaft. That's what pumps this. So if you loosen it, naturally that rod will slide down a little bit. This way, when you're pulling the camshaft out, you're not bumping it with the lobes as you're pulling it out. Which brings me to here. I've got two long 5/16 bolts that I'm screwing in. This way, when I'm pulling it, I can control it so we're not nicking the journals. It's just something you want to really be careful, because there's a gear on the end of this camshaft that drives the distributor, and you do not want to drag that gear across the cam bearings, especially if you're not replacing them like me, because I'm not rebuilding the motor, you know, just replacing the cam lifters heads. So this will give you control. Just go nice and slow, pull it out, and go from there. Well, this is comical. Pulling the camshaft out, and I've got one lobe to go, which is probably about 3/4 of an inch, and bam, it hits the grill. Upsetting. So this grill is a pain in the ass to get out, because the way everything's bolted and tight up against the bumper and everything. And I had to use, because this was a grill, I undid the top ones already and pulled it out a little bit. Obviously it didn't get very far. Yeah. I hate working around painted stuff like this. Anyway, well, I'm gonna have to lick my wounds here and get this going. But you know what? I guarantee you there's some old timers out there who saw this coming, and they're like getting their popcorn ready for this moment for me to hit the camshaft into the grill, because if you've done this once before, you don't forget it. So anyway, it happened. You pull the camshaft out, you gotta remove the grill. Ugh. At least on the early vans, which this is a 78, but it has the 77 on down grill, so it makes it an early van. Hey, I have an idea. How about I just cut the grill right there, and I just pull the cam out? Bad joke. All right. Well, time to lick my wounds.
Welcome to Cross Country Garage. Today we are doing a lesson for Kevin. You know, back in school we used to have sentences when we were bad. Some of us kids used to write a lot. Kevin only has to write 10. So it's going to say, I will film with my camera sideways. So you'll see later on he will, in fact, learn through his repetitiveness of turning his phone sideways because of the sentences. He'll thank me later. Like and subscribe.